In the year 1324, a caravan left West Africa that the world had never seen the likes of before. 60,000 people, 12,000 enslaved attendants, each dressed in Persian silk, 80 camels, each carrying up to 300 pounds of pure gold dust. At the front of it all rode a king most of the world had never heard of and was about to never forget. His name was Mansa Musa, and he was, by many modern estimates, the richest individual in recorded human history. To understand Musa, you have to understand what he ruled. The Mali Empire, by the 14th century, controlled the gold and salt trade routes of West Africa, arguably the most valuable trade network on Earth at the time. Gold from Mali's mines flowed north across the Sahara, funding the economies of North Africa and, eventually, Europe. Whoever controlled that gold controlled a resource more valuable than land, more valuable than armies. Musa didn't create this empire. He inherited its foundations and then expanded it, conquering the city of Timbuktu, seizing control of the salt mining center of Tagaza, pushing Mali's borders across a territory larger than Western Europe. By the time he decided to make his pilgrimage to Mecca, a religious duty for any devout Muslim ruler, Mali wasn't just wealthy. It was, quite possibly, the wealthiest state on the planet. He was about to prove it to everyone. Musa's Hajj wasn't just a religious journey. It was a demonstration of power on a scale the medieval world had never witnessed. As his procession crossed through Cairo, Musa did something that seemed generous and turned out to be catastrophic. He gave away gold, not small gifts, massive quantities, distributed to the poor, to officials, to anyone he encountered along the way. Contemporary Arab historian al-Umari, writing just over a decade after the event, recorded that Musa's gold giving was so extensive it collapsed the value of gold across Cairo's economy. The metal that underpinned an entire regional financial system was suddenly everywhere, and worth less because of it. Gold prices in Cairo reportedly took over a decade to recover. Think about that. One man, on a religious pilgrimage, inadvertently triggered a regional economic crisis that outlasted his own journey home. He didn't conquer Cairo. He didn't need to. He simply showed up with more wealth than the system could absorb. Word of Musa's wealth didn't stay in Cairo. It spread through merchants, through traders, through the same trans-Saharan networks that had made his empire rich in the first place. By 1375, a Spanish cartographer produced the Catalan Atlas, one of the most important maps of the medieval period. On it, West Africa is not a blank space, not a mystery. It features an image of Mansa Musa himself, seated on a throne, holding a golden scepter and a massive gold nugget, gazing out toward a merchant approaching by camel. A king from West Africa was now literally on the map for European powers, depicted not as a curiosity, but as a figure of serious wealth and consequence. Mali had entered the global imagination. Musa returned home not just wealthier in reputation, but transformed in ambition. He brought back Andalusian and Arab scholars, architects, and poets. Under his patronage, Timbuktu became a center of Islamic learning, home to mosques, libraries, and eventually a university that would draw scholars from across the Muslim world for centuries. This was the peak. An empire so wealthy, it broke foreign economies by accident. A capital transformed into an intellectual capital of the Islamic world. A king immortalized on European maps before most of Europe had any real contact with sub-Saharan Africa at all. But empires built on the ambitions of one man rarely survive him intact. When Mansa Musa died, the exact year is debated among historians, likely between 1332 and 1337. The succession that followed lacked his singular authority. Later rulers struggled to hold together the same trade networks and vassal loyalties that Musa had commanded almost effortlessly. Over the following century, the empire began fragmenting. Regional governors and vassal states broke away. The Songhai Empire, once a subordinate territory, rose to challenge Mali's dominance over the same trade routes that had made Musa's fortune. By the 1400s, Mali was a shadow of what it had been, its territory shrinking, its influence over the gold trade fading, its position as a regional superpower ceded to its former subjects. By the time European explorers began mapping the West African coast in earnest in the 1500s, the empire that had once broken Cairo's economy barely registered as a footnote. Here is the strange, sobering irony at the heart of this story. Mansa Musa's greatest achievement, a demonstration of wealth So overwhelming, it destabilized economies and put his empire on the maps of the world, did nothing to secure that empire's permanence. Gold, it turns out, could buy attention. It could buy scholars, mosques, and a place in history. What it couldn't buy was a system strong enough to survive without him. Mansa Musa remains, by many economic historians' estimates, the wealthiest individual to have ever lived, richer, adjusted for impact, than any billionaire of the modern era. And yet the empire he ruled would fade from global memory so thoroughly that for centuries, most of the world forgot Mali had ever existed at all. A king who broke the world's economy. An empire that broke apart within 100 years of his death. That is the story of Mansa Musa, and the price of being remembered for wealth alone.